for Salisbury Plain. And then as time's gone by and the population's gone up, they've needed to add more information to that to make it clear who's living where. So I live in Salisbury Plain 11. There's like 22 Salisbury Plain postcodes, and then after that there's a 3-digit code which then describes the street and the house that you live in.
Yeah, that explains a lot, because compared to like Germany, the postcode in Britain are there's so many different. Because in Germany you can have one postcode for half a city.
Well, so London has north, northwest, south, southwest, southeast, northeast as well. So and London has whatever it is, 8 different postcode main parts, and then it obviously breaks down into different numbers. Again, there'll be northwest 20, northwest 8, northwest 1. So, but I think it's because the way the population's grown. You know, the postcode nomenclature came in however many hundreds of years ago, and as the population has grown, they've needed to keep adding more to it to make it cover all the population and all the streets.
Yeah, it's just a bit weird compared to the rest of Europe, because I think the areas are much smaller in Great Britain.
It's the same zip codes in America, right? They have zip codes for all the different.
Yeah, but every zip code area is so much bigger. Compared in Germany, where zip codes is much larger.
I guess it's just you can get an individual's house from their postcode without needing their address, essentially.
Okay, yeah, that explains a lot.
Anyway, let's get back on topic. Hi, good evening, Trinity. How are you? More people will log in a bit. Maybe if I put you didn't at everybody, so that's okay. I was hoping that Coffee Cup and Aris would turn up, but you know, we'll see.
They're in the other channel.
The strategy meeting. So.
Yeah. What up? Am I not in the correct channel? Oh.
Doing AQ40 on Anathema. So it is relevant information. It's a guild successfully clearing AQ40.
Okay. I thought I was back at work and it was someone sharing a PowerPoint. But okay.
I think it would be adventurous for us to expect that we're going to be able to complete it this evening. I think we should just do as much as we can. Don't spend too long on any one particular thing. Don't get weighed down by it, and just sort of try and get an understanding of what we know and how we're going to format this sort of process. I think mandatory bosses into Cthulhu is probably the best route, yes.
Yep.
Depending on, if we find ourselves struggling a little bit with someone, maybe going and killing some bugs or something like that will be interesting. But I think that, yes, we should be aiming to kill Cthulhu as quick as possible.
Loot-wise, Uro and Visitius is not that interesting, so... But...
Yep. Yes, agreed.
Second topic would be raid composition. Now, obviously, we're going to use 3 prods. We've got Ares, Kaffe, and Fleeky, obviously. I've been thinking about the 4th tank. Should it be protection? Should it be fury? Should it be feral? And my opinion is that it should be a protection warrior as well. So the 4th protection warrior obviously would have a bit of a shortcoming in terms of that person's efficiency on some fights, but personally I would be much more comfortable having the fourth tank be as efficient and as competent spec-wise as the first three tanks.
Completely agree.
In terms of trash, in terms of controlling out-of-control situations.
I 100% agree as well. I think to start off with, once we've got we're looking at talking about things being on farm, we can, move to Furies.
Yeah,
but I think to start off with, we want as many protection spec warriors as want to come, so that we can pick stuff up and when the shit hits the fan, we've got more control.
Definitely.
We got this that in AQ there is no real high DPS checks until C2, so
so also, especially for some of the pulls, I mean, I've been watching a lot of streams, a lot of video footage of full AQ40 clears, including optionals. Some pulls just, there's a lot of control in terms of threats, in terms of multiple target tanking, and I think the fourth prot would play nicely there. I'll try and get Ravner to do it if he wants to. If he doesn't want to, I'll step in and be the fourth tank. I'm completely happy with that. But obviously having the Thunder Fury play in and help us as the fourth tank protection would be amazing. But we'll see what he thinks. He's kind of on the edge, I think.
I'm ambivalent to who does it. Like I'm aware that Raven doesn't particularly want to do it, so I don't think pushing him to do something.
No, I'm not going to push him. I'll just ask him straight up. Do you want to be the fourth protection? No, that's fine. I'll be that. That's completely okay. I think overall composition of the raid, class-wise, spec-wise, we should be looking at a standard composition: 3 hunters, 4 or 5 furies and rogues and warlocks and mages. We use 4 pallies and 2 rested druids. It's just a standard composition, really. I don't think it calls for anything specific, other than perhaps on Fankris. When we get to that, we'll be either doing a kill strat or a kite strat, and the kite strat obviously benefits from having more hunters, but I think 3 hunters should do just fine.
I think that given our roster, we'll probably just have to have as many hunters as show up.
Yeah.
It's not like we've got 48 people showing up all the time. I think the most important thing is we're looking to have 12 healers.
12 healers.
12 healers is where we want to be to start off with, and that may mean given our last 2 weeks where we've only had 10 healers, maybe we're asking people to play alts on the first week.
Yeah.
Depending, we'll have to see how that goes.
But other than that, really, this is kind of what we did back in BVL progression. We had 12 healers initially, 13, 14 sometimes even. It just made everything a lot safer, just a tiny bit slower. But I don't think AQ40 calls for any specific requirement in terms of number of warlocks. In MC, we want 4 warlocks for Gar. In BVL, we want a few hunters. Even in MC as well, we need 4 mages for Domo. I don't think there's anything specific call for number of any specific class in AQ40.
Not specifically. There are obviously on Scarum. There's a few little bits which will but I think it's within the realms of what we have in our raid force normally anyway. So I don't think it should be a problem. But we'll talk about it in the specifics.
Right. So should we just jump straight in?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Alright, so I've scoured the entire stream that I've linked. It's Molten Core Swim Team on Anathema, Prot Warrior POV. And
yes,
I've divided up each unique pool with a timestamp on the forum post, as well as a link to the video. So if you all want to open up the stream, and we'll jump straight to the first pool. So it's going to be 1509. That's the initial pull on the Obsidian Eradicator.
When you're on the stream, you probably want to mute the stream, or you'll get echo.
Oh yeah.
So the Eradicator.
Yeah, that's
as far as I remember from the Eradicator, his mana bar goes up when his mana bar gets to full. He blows
up. So the pull has to be done. It's recommended to be done by a hunter at max range, because that'll deplete his mana pool. And if the hunter is using a max range auto shot, it's going to blow up, and it doesn't hit anyone. So if the hunter's in front, he's not going to be hit, and it's going to deplete the mana pool. And then instantly, all the warlocks and the priest are going to just spam mana drain, because he's going to choose roughly 16 targets to mana drain from until he dies. And if his mana pool reaches 100%, he's going to blow up and instantly wipe the entire raid. So it's a fairly simple tank and spank with a mana drain.
I've heard people on private servers talking about just having the priests do mana drain and letting everyone else just full nuke. But we'll see. We'll start off with the warlocks and the priests doing it, and then see how our DPS looks.
So I'm writing pull at max range, explodes when at full mana, priests, mana drain, and then tank and spank.
Yeah.
So that's really it, because he doesn't do anything else. Now the next pull is at 1746. That's a bit more complicated. So we're looking at the Anubis Sentinels.
Yes.
These can be extremely annoying because they do a number of different abilities. So they have a chance to have random ability. They can have the same ability. And I've been thinking the most simple way.
I don't think they can have the same ability.
They
I think they have one of 4 between. There's 8 total abilities, and they have one of 4 each.
Yeah, on retail they couldn't have the same ability.
Okay, well, maybe I mean, this is from own call. It's a different private server from back in the day, so obviously maybe they had different scripting. But I think for us to apply a simple tactic on this on a day-to-day basis, we should divide each ability into 4 categories. So very bad, bad, good, very good, and then simply just jot down the line. So we know, okay, so we want renew, that's very bad. Okay, so we've got to kill that last, and then thorns, that doesn't really do anything. So we're just going to kill that first. How do you think?
Yes.
The thorn's actually really nasty.
Well, yeah, obviously, just an example. We'll discuss each.
So we set it. So there's 8 different abilities. We put them in a list of priorities, and then we kill according to that list of priorities.
Yes, exactly.
The most important thing I think about the pull is isolating which one does what, and then making sure that we're killing the right thing at the right time. Like I don't think they're particularly scary.
Nah, it's just about control, really.
It's just about knowing the abilities.
Right, so we have Renew, heals 4.5 thousand HP every 3 seconds, also does a mortal strike on the tank. What do we vote? Is that bad, very bad?
I have no idea. More pathos, I'll have to tell you which ones are good and which ones are bad. Well, maybe.
4.5k
I mean,
every 3 seconds. That's only 15% of our DPS.
It's so we got to remember that when they die, they heal to full HP. The others and gain that ability. They track the ability.
You want to kill the easy ones first.
Yes. So we spread the easy ability to the other ones. So I think Renew is just bad. It's not very bad, but it's not good either because it does a mortal strike.
It's kind of medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll start off by calling it 4 out of 8, shall we?
I'll just put it in bad. Mortal strike, well, same. That's good actually because it doesn't renew. It's just a mortal strike, and we can deal with that. It's not a Brood Lord style mortal strike. It does roughly 6,000 damage, so it's not horrible. So I'll put that in good, I think. A mana burn. That's I don't know if that's AOE or single target mana burn, but I mean, to me, mana burn is meh. Do you want to put that in very good?
It depends how much it's for. Like if it starts one-shotting all the mages, then it's obviously not very good. But
I don't even know if it does damage. Like it just says mana burn. So initially, I think I'll put that in very good, and then we'll see how we go on. Shadowbolt AOE. That's very bad.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's pretty much the worst.
Obviously,
that sounds bad.
It's the high DPS abilities that we want.
Yeah.
We want a bad one. So yeah, Shadowbolt AOE. Let's call it very bad.
Yeah. Next one is knockback and immune to taunt. I don't think that's horrible. I think that's pretty much just DPS, keep it in the pants initially, and tanking it against the wall. I mean,
sounds very medium.
Yeah,
I'll put that in very good.
It's probably good. Oh yeah, put it in very good. Yeah, it doesn't sound that bad.
All right, knockback and immune.
Especially when you get to the lighter ones, because they have quite a lot of threat built.
Yeah. Thorns. That's 500 damage per hit on melee. Yeah, I think this could. It has the potential to be horrible, but it's also easy to control because people can just stop DPSing until they have HP again. I think I'll put this in bad. I don't think it's the worst.
I remember it being horrible because I used to play Warrior. So
it's gonna be, if they keep hitting it, it's gonna be roughly 1,000 damage per second on the melee. So it's pretty bad.
Yes, it kills you quite fast.
Yeah. Next one is Thunderclap. That's 800 damage, no debuff, just the damage.
I think that's quite nasty as well because it does it to all the melee. I think.
Yeah. It's a miracle. It's a melee thing, but we should spread this out wide enough that the thunderclaps don't overlap, and then it's 800 damage. It's nothing basically.
Should we call it good?
Yeah, I think I'll call that good.
Yeah.
What's the cooldown on the thunderclap?
It's warrior-like. I think it's 10 seconds.
Yeah, I remember when it overlapped, it was really bad. I think.
Yeah, obviously that's just about positioning, really, isn't it? I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Next one is Reflect, Fire, and Arcane. Mages will.
That does nothing. Mages just.
That just does nothing. Yeah.
Like, it might kill a mage, but before they realise it's happening, but then they just cast Frostbolt and it's fine.
Yeah, and the second one is Reflect, Frost, and Shadow.
That's super easy as well.
Yeah, so but those are all super easy, yes.
Yeah, so let's jump down again. In very bad, I've got Shadow Bolt AoE. That's the only one we call very bad. Maybe we should put Thorns up in there. I mean, it's got the potential to be horrible.
I guess we'll see. We'll see. As long as we've got them in their groups.
Yeah.
When we first pull, we'll isolate that one of them's got Thorns, one of them's got Thunderclap, one's got Renew, and the other one's got no frost damage.
Yeah.
So we isolate which one we're going to do. Like DPS don't start until we've isolated everything, and then
you can do this from a range. You can identify the abilities before you pull.
Okay, then we know to do nothing. So we killed the frost damage one first, then we'll kill the Renew one,
yeah, exactly,
and then we'll kill the Thunderclap one, and then we'll finish off with the other one, which I've forgotten what it's called.
Yeah. So in bad, I've got Renew and Mortal Strike. I've got Thorns. In good, I've got just the Mortal Strike and the Thunderclap. And in very good, I've got Mana Burn, Knockback plus Immune to Taunt, and then Reflex. So that's quite simple. Yeah?
Yeah, that seems fine. And obviously, if we wipe, we'll rearrange things to reflect our new understanding of how bad the Mana Burn is.
Yeah, obviously.
Like, if it's all healers lose all their mana instantaneously, we'll have to differently adjust that.
Oh, yeah. Right, so next pull, that's 23-25 on the stream, and that's going to be the Prophet's Garam.
Yep.
Now, he's said to be the second hardest in the raid, followed by Cthulhu only. It's got different scripting on different servers, basically meaning Anathema has been reporting bugging out with mind controls, where people just float off and you can't really get them back, even when CC'd.
In the stream of these people doing it here, it seems completely normal and fine, reminding me very much of vanilla.
Yes. So let's jot down the abilities. First one's obviously mind control.
Yeah. So this I think is going to be the hardest one.
Well, maybe
because it requires our mages, and we'll need a number of mages in the raid.
Spread out,
basically. Well, they need to be one per platform, depending on where we do the tanking.
Yeah.
And then mages will need to be alert and need to be fast and make the sheeps happen, quickly without screwing us over. So that's going to be our biggest problem.
What tactic are we using?
Right. So there's two tactics. It's the no melee, only 2 melee on each platform, or it's all melee and just kick. And I think we should go with the kick and rotation.
Yeah, kick. Are we doing the naked rogue?
What's that?
Well, don't you have? Doesn't it mind control the closest person?
It's
so
random.
Then you have. Oh, okay. All right. On retail, it did the closest person. So you would have a rogue with no weapons stand in the middle of the boss, so they would take all the mind controls.
Okay. I think we should just go. Yeah, I think we should go back a bit and then go over the positioning on this boss. So we've got 3 platform, obviously, middle and the 2 sides, and there's going to be 1 tank on each, and there's going to be a group of melee on each platform. But I think initially the melee until the split is just going to follow the boss, and when it splits, that's when they go to their assigned platform and do the kick and rotations. So we'll kind of milk as much DPS out of the melee as we can.
It's not really a DPS race, just more controlled. So maximum amount of DPS isn't needed. We need to be in control when the boss faces a new phase. That's very important.
Yeah. So obviously we know at 75, 50, and 25% the boss will clone, split, and teleport. And the melee will just move, a few percent before he's going to split. So they're ready at the platforms to interrupt and take up the DPS again. Does that sound good?
Yes, that's the starting thing. Yes, when he splits, melee needs to be on the people need to be in the correct positions.
So right, 3 platforms, 1 tank on each. Melee in groups on each for each platform. Move
And I think
before
you can't
splits.
have too many melee per boss, or something bad happens. Doesn't
No,
it?
it's just if he's got more than 4 melee in melee range, he's gonna do the Arcane Explosion.
Okay, so then that's the thing that needs to be kicked.
Yeah, it can be kicked, and it doesn't. I think almost one person can do the kicking alone on each platform because it's got like 8 seconds cooldown. It's a Shastra style thing, and it can be kicked. So 2 kickers on each platform, and a backup, easy done.
Okay, so 2 rogues per platform, 2 warriors ready to do tanking in case warrior number 1 gets turned into a sheep.
Well, there's going to be 1 tank on each, and then the 4th tank in the middle, ready to run to either platform and control the. If it's a double teleport to 1 platform, he's ready to run up there and taunt that extra.
Sounds good.
Or we can do it safe and having
Yes,
6
yes.
tanks.
Yes, you can have 6 tanks, 2 on each platform, and that way, if one of the tanks gets turned into a sheep, then you can then you've got your other tank ready to go.
So you want to do 6 tanks?
So I don't see a problem with having 6 tanks.
Do it that way in a vanilla. It's neat, and it's safer. It's a bit slower, but it's safer.
Okay, so 3 platforms, 2 tanks on each, melee in groups for each platform, move before split, 2 kickers per platform.
Does he like drop aggro when he splits?
Yes.
Or the range,
And
or
it's
the range
tauntable.
DPS have to stop and sort of just for a couple of seconds and wait
Yeah.
for the.
So
The
the teleport
uprise.
is random. He'll do it at any point, and it's going to clear aggro, but he is tauntable.
So that's the only way I remember wiping on this boss. We nearly always killed this boss, but the only times we'd wipe was when range would pull aggro, and then he'd
And he
run
just
in
fogs
amongst-
off up to the platform on top.
and then starts casting Arcane Explosion
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the healers.
Yeah,
And,
so on each,
that's
on
basically
each,
the only way you wipe.
yeah, each each teleport just stop DPS for a bit until he's in control again. What about the range? Split them up along the staircase and the top part.
Yes, the range spread out evenly across the staircase and up and around the loop of the area. The healers to take a position on the platforms, but as far away from the boss, like at the base of the stairs, going up to the top. I think.
Yeah.
The video is quite good for this actually that we're watching,
Yes.
showing the
And
positions of the healers.
so we'll teleport randomly, stop DPS until control. CC mind controls and
So that's the thing that concerns me the most.
CC the mind control. So when you get mind control, you've got increased damage, top resistance, fast movement speed, instant cast spells. So it's as deadly on a mage as it is on a fury or a rogue.
So I'm looking in this strategy room right now. None of our mages. Mogi's in our strategy room. So Mogi. So that, this is going to be critical. Your ability to target the person who's been turned into a mind control person and sheep them. You'll still need to have raid frames available, so you can click on the target immediately without having to find them on the screen. And because your raid warning, whatever it is, will tell you that who's got it. And then you need to cast sheep if they're in range of you.
You could actually write a mod that did that.
But if I remember correctly, it's variable also.
It might be fearable. That's true. But if they fear it, and then
you can fear them. You can do anything to them. It's just like a person.
But if they then come back into range and they go out of range and go up to someone who if we think that I don't know, Satisfaction's in charge of fearing one, and he goes out of Satisfaction's range because Satisfaction's not supposed to go wandering around the area. He needs to stay in his set position, and then he goes out of Satisfaction's position. Then we'll end up with confusion. I think sheeping's definitely the best strategy.
Yeah,
It's just a case of finding the person who's gone 3 times the size, making sure they're sheeped, and making sure they stay sheeped. I trust Mogi to do this job. I trust Slow to do this job, but I'm not too sure how many more trustworthy mages we've got currently.
Okay, what did you say? What item do we need to have for this?
So you need bigwigs or whatever raid announcer add-on you have, and that'll tell you when someone's been turned into a sheep, when someone's been mind controlled.
Okay,
And let's say if it says ovular mind controlled, you would then need to click me on your raid frames, and then sheep me instantaneously, rather than having to look and find me amongst the melee or wherever it is I'm standing. Because if you let someone go loose, if one of the rogues gets loose on a healer, that's dead healer instantaneously, right?
Yeah. So basically, for this boss, I've written 3 platforms, 3 groups of melee for each platform. Move to platform before split.
2 kickers and 2 tanks, 1 main and 1 backup tank for each platform. Range will spread around the staircase and top part. Healers and mages well spread, will teleport randomly, stop DPS until control. CC the mind controls instantly. Sheeps will split into clones at 75, 50 and 25% HP. Clones will have low HP, kill them ASAP and reposition.
Sounds good.
That's it basically, isn't it?
Now,
Sounds alright.
On the original version of this boss, you could put a marker on it, and the marker would be the real boss.
It doesn't do that, as far as
But
I know.
then
It's been removed.
They fixed it later on,
Yeah.
so that it didn't work like that.
Because that's too easy.
Yep,
Yeah,
basically too easy.
I need to go AFK for 10-15 minutes. I'll be back in a bit.
Alright, sure.
Keep going without me.
Yeah. So next pull is at 2641. That's a trash pull. So this is the let's see, that's a Garage Brainwasher and 2 Vegna's Guardians. Brainwasher, let me look up the thing on that.
Is it Brainwasher to mind control? Is that right?
Yeah, he does a mind control, that's for sure. Let's see. They cast Mind Flay with an added fear effect, and they mind control. They should be killed first.
Yeah, they're really obnoxious.
Yeah. So alright, let's see. Kill Brainwasher first. CC mind control. Vegna's Guardians, as far as I know, when one Vegna's Guardian dies, the others will rush to that spot and knock up everybody at that area.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So you're gonna see that later in the stream. There's a lot of them. There's a 6-pack of only Guardians, so it's constant knocking up.
Oh yeah, it's really annoying.
Yep.
It's not really that dangerous, but it's really annoying.
No, it's not. They don't do damage when you get knocked up. It's the full damage that gets you, and they add a dot effect that stacks every time one of them explodes. So alright, kill Brainwasher first, CC Mind Control, Vegna's Guardians, explode upon death, and dot nearby melee. Fairly easy.
Yeah.
Right, next pull, 2729. That's gonna be a patrol pull from a 3-pack of Vegna's Warriors. Quite simple really, tank and spank. But when they die, they spawn a fucking herd of tiny bugs, like 10 each. It's a lot of bugs. Really simple. Tank and spank them, AoE taunt them, burn them down when they spawn all the bugs. That's it really.
They kind of culture on the bugs.
Do the counter trick, yeah.
Yeah.
To the market.
So we need to kill them at the same time, basically, so we, don't lose control of it. So alright, tank and spank will spawn small adds upon death. Kill at the same time. AoE, taunt adds, and AoE. That's it basically. This is a fairly simple pull. Next up, 2845. That's a 6-pack of Vegna's Guardians. That's the fun one. Hang on, sorry. Yep. So 2845, 6-pack of Vegna's Guardians. As stated above, they explode upon death, knocking up everybody. So, I mean, it's fairly simple. Just gotta kill them one by one, and then deal with the knock up and the dart. Anything to add?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Right. Next pull, Battleguard Sargera. That's at 3424.
For those Vecnis Guardian packs,
Yeah.
I want to remember on the stream that there was a hunter running away, like pulling them. And the raid stayed pretty much in one room for
Yeah.
multiple pulls.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they use the ceiling. It's a low ceiling there, so reduce fall damage. I'll write that in.
Yeah, sort of stay in that one place and yeah, pull them all back there. Yes.
Yep. So Battle Guard Satura. Next boss. It's fairly simple. So Battle Guard Satura is a boss with 3 adds, so 4 mobs in total. They do the same thing, basically all of them. They do an axe thrower, CG style whirlwind, but they move around. So it's a movement fight. They can all be stunned when they're not whirlwinding, much like the axe throwers in CG. Tactic is fairly simple. Melee need to be careful. Need to keep repositioning as well as the range, because they do move around. They lose aggro when they whirlwind, but then they regain it afterwards. So kite them around, stun them, take the adds one by one. But at 30%, Satura will enrage, basically doing 30% increased damage, I think. So at which point you burn cooldowns and try to take it down ASAP before you lose control. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, just add to note that use the room is a big room spread out.
And they are also stunnable.
Yes, they can be
So-
stunned whenever they're not whirlwinding, even including the boss.
Yeah, so potentially we could have like 4 paladins. That's how long is Hammer of Justice stun?
60 seconds? I think. 30 or 60.
Yeah, the cooldown, but how long is it? Is it
it's
4
5
seconds
seconds
stun?
stun.
5 seconds. So potentially, like if we don't stack the stuns, if we use them one after another, so to speak, we could keep one ad stunned for
There's
a very long
diminishing
time.
returns on it.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it does diminishing returns.
Okay, is it diminishing returns for like a paladin stun and a rogue stun, or are those
It's all
counted
stun.
as different?
It's one complete diminishing return, basically. So you can't stun Lucky forever. It stuns, 5 seconds, then the next pull it's, reduced by
2.5
20%,
seconds.
and it reduces 50% each time. But yeah, just stun them all the time. Basically, at some point they're gonna get immune, and then after 30 seconds they stop being immune. You can stun them again.
Like if you want to go really try hard,
Yeah.
you can craft yourself a couple of invulnerability potions for those oh shit I'm gonna die moments.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like if you're a really good melee or range DPS, you have those anyway. But yeah. Anyway, so I've written spread out and focus down the 3 adds first. All mobs will whirlwind whilst ignoring aggro. Stun them when not whirlwinding, and kite around. Boss enrages at 30%. So that's it, really. Anything I missed?
I just had to save cooldowns to enrage.
I remembered for the add one stun lock van a rogue is enough to burn them down, so if
Yeah.
constantly.
Check.
Hang on, what are we
Yeah.
DPS? Oh, so you focus down the ads, we kill the ads
Yeah,
first.
focus down the adds first. I mean,
Oh,
they all
right,
do the
okay,
same
yeah.
thing, so it's really simplified. It's just about movement.
Yeah, kiting.
Yep.
And feign ditting if you get aggro and yeah, that stuff. Like,
They can all be taunted, so when they're not whirlwinding, it's a fairly simple strat.
Yeah, but at the whirlwind you need to kite them around the room with
Yep.
playing with the aggro.
How many tanks are we using for this fight?
Just fall. Because, they don't have
Right.
much HP. So, when one dies, the next tank's available. So,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You could have a 5th tank. It wouldn't
you
be
could
bad.
have, but yeah, do we want it?
Will make
We-
the pull easier.
We'll figure it out, I guess.
I think we should, let's go with 4 to start with, and then if it's if we're losing control, we'll force Ravenous.
Yeah, that sounds good. Alright, next pool is 3717. That's the Gauntlet of Bugs.
Oh,
Suppression style. So, no suppression traps, but a shit ton of bugs.
Yeah, just a comment on Sartura.
Yep.
Like, if we're focusing down one ad, we will have that ad sort of close to where the raid is, and we'll try to have Sartura and the 2 other ads as far away from the raid as possible.
You don't want to range
But
too much, really.
Problem is you cannot control that whirlwind all the time, so
Yeah. And then I'm thinking, wouldn't it make sense to have like a hunter or something standing by each tank? So when the ad starts whirlwinding, when it drops out of the whirlwind and gains aggro from something.
No, it doesn't drop the aggro completely. It oh shit, sorry. It regains the aggro it had before. So if a tank had top threat and then he starts whirlwinding, when he's done, he goes back to the tank.
Alright, okay.
So it's like a bounce back and forth sort of thing. So it doesn't actually go for a threat target when it's whirlwinding. It just goes randomly. It's gonna target a person randomly and, start speeding up towards them. So threat isn't really an issue here, and they can all be taunted when they're not whirlwinding. So, it's a fairly simple thing when they're not whirlwinding. And when they are, it's just about movement. Just keep running away from them.
Yeah, spread out.
Yeah, I've written down that. Right, so the Gauntlet of Bugs, super simple. You pull up to a captain or soldier even, and then you AoE everything in between, and keep going.
now at this point of the instance, or around this point of the instance, do we need to be careful about and wipe for recovery?
Up until Emperor, I think.
If you wipe, can't you get in trouble around Fancris? If you wipe, you have to do the gauntlets again.
Yep. That's correct. Obviously not a problem with soulstones.
Yeah, so we have to be careful the soulstones are up correct.
Yeah, we always need to have soulstones. Always, always, always.
The problem is that it's not really any safe spot to die if you on Frankris.
There's
you
one
have to
safe
redo
spot.
the gauntlet.
No,
Yeah,
there's
but
one
it's
safe
hard.
spot.
Then you have to get at least a healer, a wrestler, and a warlock, and another person to die there.
Right, yeah, so you need to make sure you've got a Reza dying in the safe spot on Fancris, I think
Yeah.
that sounds right. Like, I know it's... Yeah, you've got to make sure your wipe recovery is in place. That's all I meant with it.
So for the Gauntlet, I've said pull all the box up to a Vecna Soldier, then AoE down. Move on to next. Anything to add?
No, nothing. It's a simpler version of the suppression room.
Yep. Alright, so it's next up on Fancris. That's 4029. Fancris, fairly simple boss again, but execution can be tough. So we've got a decision to make here. Do we want a kill strat or do we want a kite strat?
Kill strat.
Kill strat.
Q strat.
The kill is a nuke strat, or
So
The kite strat is I remember can go so wrong so quickly, so and we have much better care of what it used to be in the retail, so should be Q strat.
okay.
Are we talking about the small bugs that
The
spawn?
big ones. We'll the hatchlings. The
Ah,
small
okay,
ones are
the
cool.
dangerous ones.
So the small ones, we just tank them until they, start doing damage, and then AoE down. They don't do much.
Someone said that they were capped at 16 bugs or something like that. So once you reach 16 bugs, there won't spawn any more small bugs.
Yeah, so I think you just off tank them, don't you, for the whole fight?
Yeah. So the boss will do a mold strike thing.
But it is tauntable, so
So I've written tank and spank boss, swap tanks and mold strike. AoE off tank the ads. And then a third tank for the worms.
Oh, okay, so hang on. So we've got 2 tanks on the boss.
Yes.
And how many tanks are we going to have on the little lads? We're going
One,
to try
and that's going to be an engineering tank with a shield.
Gosh. Okay, so that tank's going to have to manage to pick up all those little lads. That might be hard.
Nope.
I don't think so, because once you got like 5 on you, the shield procs all the time. So when a new bugs get into range.
Or even just having just oils of immolation. That's going to do the trick for you.
Cool. All right. So if one tank could do it, that's great, because that gives us our 4th tank to pick up the ad that spawns, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
the worm.
Lovely. Okay, yeah, because I think when we did this at retail, we had to have 2 tanks, because our tanks weren't very good. We had 2 tanks tanking the small ads, and then we had to have a 5th tank picking up the worm.
Yeah.
I know, because I was the 5th tank.
Right. So I've written tank and spec bars, swap tanks, add more strike, AoE off tank, small ads. 4th tank for the worms, nuke down ASAP.
So save your stuns for them.
Yeah.
They hit really hard, so save the stuns, pop stuns, and nuke them
Yeah,
down.
I said it can be stunned, so obviously people are going to stun them. I mean, it's a super simple boss. So that's it. Basically, it's free loot. If you don't fuck it up. Okay, next pull at 41.55. They are called Vecnis Hive Crawlers. You get 2 of them. A few pulls like that. As far as I can tell, they do nothing. And I've read guides and guides upon guides, and they just do nothing.
Yeah, I think you get into an area where there's lots of stuff moving around, and you have to just be a little bit careful not to double pull. I think that's the only real danger.
Yeah, so I've just written tank and spank.
Yeah, I think.
Alright, next up is 44.16. And this is when things get exciting. So these are intricate pulls, usually 5 or 6 mobs. And you get 3 types of mob. So Kirashi Lasher, basically like Satura ad, it's gonna whirlwind. So tank that up to the side. It doesn't drop aggro when it whirlwinds, it just does it in stationary form. So as far as I know, Lasher is just tanked by the side. The Stinger is the tough one in this pool. They do raid wide, nature, poison, dot, so they need to be nuked down. And the wasps, I know nothing about.
Probably don't do that much then.
Let's see, wasp, well, they do nothing, basically.
So don't double pull, kill the stinger, and everything's good.
Yeah, Stinger, then Lasher, then Wasps. And we're gonna just get a few one of these. Sometimes 2 Stingers, sometimes 1. So yeah, just adapt and kill. Next up is Princess Huron. That's the first tough one. That's at 50 to 11. Has anyone done this boss before?
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't completely understand how it works.
Okay, so you've got. I think you have to get the tanks to swap, and I think you do it by. It's not tauntable, but you have to rotate the tanks. So the tanks have to sort of.
Oh yeah, it's the assets bit.
Yeah.
So
So
the tanks have to stop
I think-
attacking and get the aggro to switch.
I think the way you do it is when you get like 5 or 6 stacks of the dot, you keep generating rage from that damage.
Yep.
So the key is to swap often so that you keep the debuffs low, so all the tanks can get rage to put out enough threat.
Yeah, so the tanking tank just sort of
so
auto
it can't be taunted.
Yeah,
No.
so the tanking tank has to auto attack, and then all the other tanks spam their threat abilities, and then
And then they
I
swap
don't
like
get
that.
it.
swap.
And then they swap around. Yeah, the
Okay.
DPS has to stay beneath the 2 or 3 tanks.
And like if you reach a point where you have to drop the threat quickly, you can use invulnerability potions.
Yeah. Or just have a pally bob, yeah.
Yeah, that's true as well. You can spend your potions,
Exactly.
your potion cooldown on stone shields.
Aggro won't be actually for melee because we're wearing the nature resistance gear.
Yeah. So I've
I also
written.
think that the raid during the first phase before she enrages, the DPSers should give the tanks quite a lot of a big head start on the
Okay.
threat.
Because when she enrages, you really need to nuke her down fast, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. I've written will dot the tank, swap taunts and many stacks. Use rage from dot to over aggro since the boss is immune to taunt.
Yeah, and you need to dispel the tank that isn't tanking from the Wyvern's team too, so that he can continue generating
Well, if you want
aggro.
to. The Wyvern Sting only does damage if it's cleansed.
Yeah, so,
So
only
we
a
should
cleansing.
only dispel it if it's necessary, and that tank has to, take aggro.
Yeah, the tank that isn't tanking will have to get so much aggro as it can. So it needs to be cleansed.
Doesn't it sleep the tank, so he has to be removed?
Sorry, what?
Doesn't it sleep the tank that they get it?
Yeah, so it has to keep attacking and try to keep his threat as high as possible. The not tanking off tank.
So if you're an off tank and you get slept, you obviously have no possibility of keeping up
Yeah.
with the main tank on the threat.
Yeah.
So you'll have to get it dispelled. But for all other classes, I think you can just wait it out.
You need
Yeah.
need to wait it out, but I think maybe, use 4 tanks for it. If one tank gets slapped, it's not a big deal, because you've got 3 other tanks building aggro.
I think
it's only a
every
10.
melee will get slept.
It's only a 10-second. No, it's not every melee. It's something about the positioning. It's something about if you're inside the hitbox, you won't be hit by it, but if you're outside of it, still hitting in melee range like most fights are, where you can hit outside the circle when you target the boss. If you're outside of that, you get stinged. So melee DPS take that basically. As far as I've seen.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
I'm not sure, man. It's a very intricate fight.
Also, I maybe misremember, but I think it's all tranking during the boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've written even. Will Wyvern Sting melee do not cleanse unless it's a tank who needs to over aggro? Needs to be tranked. Save cooldowns for, was it 30%? Yeah, 30%.
Yeah.
Save cooldowns for 30% and burn down the boss.
Paladins can double in. Also at the 30%.
And obviously the melee are gonna get dots, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the
That's
first,
where you need a soaker.
the nearest 15 people get dots, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm looking at this this
So melee and
stream.
hunters.
I can see the stream, so people closest seem to be taking the sleep, but the ones far away don't. If you look at the
Yeah.
stream, you can see the melee far away don't get slept. And the ones
Just-
close do.
The sleep is in close range, and also there's white D15 soakers. Those are getting sleep also.
So I've added oh shit. Sorry. I've written will Wyvern Sting the closest melee instead of just melee, so we know it's the people closest who'll get the sting. And basically that's gonna be all the tanks. It's not gonna be the tanks because they need to be aggroing. And yeah, that's it.
And we want to arrange groups so that, like, we want like 4 melee groups, that can all get Prayer of Healing.
A priest and
And-
hunter each.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so priest, hunter plus 3 warrior rogues. And we want to make like 4 groups like that, I guess.
So we need 4 hunters for this fight.
We don't know. You don't need 4 hunters, but it's
I mean,
nice.
We want 4 hunters, 1 for the tank group and 1 for each melee group.
But you could, I think you could have your best NR melee group not have a hunter.
We don't, yeah, okay.
And
Yeah.
it'll be alright.
And you need to pop nature resistance spots like crazy.
Obviously.
And probably, like it feels like you could have 15 people with nature resistance gear and 25 people without it. But actually, we want more than 15 people with nature resistance gear. So when some of them die, a couple of those soakers are probably going to die. So we probably want more than 15, ideally. Right, got a couple of people that are kind of can move in and soak it instead of it hitting like me, because I don't have any nature resistance really.
Yeah.
Because obviously the priests need to maximise their mana so they can keep casting Prayer of Healing on people.
Yep.
And I don't know which rank of Prayer of Healing we're going to cast. We need to figure that out when we get there.
Well, the dart doesn't do that much damage.
It
So-
stacks, that's the problem. It's just ramps up.
Yeah, obviously. It's gonna do roughly 1,000 damage on non-nature resistance.
Okay, that's not too bad, is it?
1,000 to 1,500. Nature resistance capped means 75% reduction in damage. So we're looking at 250 to 500 tops.
That's
But
right.
it's every 3 seconds when
That's-
you know it's the rage phase.
Right, so that's fine. So that's like rank 1 Prayer of Healing. So that makes sense.
Yeah.
And another problem is that when you got 2 stacks, 3 stacks, 4 stacks, it's gonna ramp up the damage taken all over the raid.
Okay.
As far as I've seen, it doesn't stack.
Paladins can also soak well bubbled. It can help a lot. For like 12 seconds.
And dwarves can run in, take a couple of stacks, then stormform.
Okay.
Right, so I'm looking at the stream, and melee do take a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
But they might not be wearing nature resistance gear. And it does dot. It is indeed a dot.
Yeah, stacking dot probably. It's probably
Yeah.
the reason you can kill her fast, right?
And dwarf cannot storm from out of it. Just one
Obviously, yeah. But to sum up the fight, all melee and tanks want max nature resistance. Will dot the tank, swap taunts, add many stacks, use rage from dot to over aggro since the boss is immune to taunt. Will Women's Sting closest melee do not cleanse unless it's a tank who needs to over aggro. Needs to be tranked and save cooldowns for 30% in rage, burn down the boss. Melee groups will need a priest and hunter in each for AoE heals and aspect. Yes?
Pretty correct, I think, yeah. It sounds like it.
Good. Next pull is quite foreign, 5616.
Oh god. These things are horrible.
Yeah.
And it's only getting worse from here on.
It's only gonna get worse.
These
So,
things they're like a boss.
they
there's
do,
like
as far as I know,
8 of them.
2 things, right? 2 types of defenders. There's the meteor one and the plague one, yeah?
Sounds right. Oh yeah, the meteor one you have to stack, don't you? Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
not good at stacking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
otherwise
so
it's
initially you want, on the pull, you want melee stacked and range stacked in 2 different groups. As you can see on the pull. If it's meteor, obviously you want everybody to stack so that it spreads out the damage on everybody. But if it's a plague one, it's gonna summon ads and it's gonna do a plague on one person, and that person needs to move
Yeah.
away so it doesn't spread.
They get shouted at until they move away. Yes.
So I'll write, if meteor, stack up and spread damage. If it's plague, kill ads and move away if you have debuff. Is that it? I mean, it's just a lot of damage. The plague does a lot of damage. Oh, sorry, it's the ads and the meteor. It's not the plague and the meteor. Is it always mads? I'm not sure.
I can't remember.
Some are Shadowbolt volleys as well, I see.
No, maybe it's Shadowbolt and plague, and then it's ads and meteor.
No, this one cast Shadowbolt volleys and have a ad.
So it's always
And plague.
ads.
Yeah, always ads. The first one they pulled is a meteor one, the second one is a plague one.
Okay.
And from the looks of it, Shadowbolt only cast on people that's not very close over a certain range.
I'm looking. Let me see.
Oh yeah. God, I get these AQ flashbacks as well.
Yeah, so they always summon ads. And then it's a Shadowbolt AoE. It's not on melee, it seems.
No, it's only on the ranged people.
And then you get the plague. What does the plague do?
Nature damage, I guess, and spreading if you don't move out. Don't move out.
Okay. So basically, it's gonna just summon ads and spam Shadowbolt.
Yeah. And the plague, that's like every 15 seconds one person has to move away.
So written can either be meteor or plague, kill ads, always first. If meteor, stack up and spread damage. If it's plague, move away if you get the plague and heal through the Shadowbolt AoE.
Yeah, it looks like you can, using the space on the other side of the boss for where the melee is standing, the plague can be in safe zone for Shadowbolt volley and not spread the plague.
Yeah. Well, that was fairly simple, but I reckon it's going to be a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's a great video to show it all. The problem is this is on a PTR realm. Everybody, I think, is.
Oh, this is on Anathema.
Okay, it's on Anathema, but at least some of them got full Nax gear.
Yeah. Obviously, these guys raid Nax, so they overgear this raid tremendously. So, next up, the Emperors. That's in 1 hour 0606.
So it's going to take us more than 1 hour to get to the Emperors.
Just a tiny bit, yeah. A few days.
Hmm. I don't know. I remember the Emperors being really hard, and the other bosses not so much.
Yeah, it was a DPS and gear check, and I don't think we will have the same problem today that we had 10 years ago.
Right, so we know one guy is tanked traditionally, other guys tanked by warlocks. That much we know. We know they will heal if they're close together. They're just gonna spam heal each other to full HP. They will teleport, swap places every 30 seconds. So I've written, we'll teleport to swap places every 30 seconds. Tanking is key. It doesn't do much other than just controlling the teleport, yeah? And then we've got the ads to deal with. Is that right? So some
Yeah,
scarabs
sort of.
will...
I remember the healer positioning being really awkward.
Yeah.
And also Frost.
Oh, Blizzard.
Blizzard.
Yeah, he does
Yeah.
Blizzard.
Yeah, because the healers have to find a position where they can heal the warrior and not be in the blizzard. And I remember that being really, really painful. Like that was actually probably the cause of most of our wipes. Like we never killed this, but we just wiped a lot with healers saying out of range or healers saying I'm in a blizzard, I've died.
Yeah.
It's
Of
just
course.
it's a case of learning where you can stand safely and trying to work that out.
I think we had our tanks healers at the side of the bottom of the stairs, like when we were watching at
I mean, look
before
at the
they pulled.
video. Look at the video. You can see all the healers on the very far side of the staircase, like on the ledge on the staircase.
Okay, yeah, so that sounds. But yeah, so I'm not watching, but that's.
But
we
they
gotta
do
that
get
positioning.
blizzard. They do get blizzard, and they
Oh, okay.
reposition.
So we got to get that positioning spot on.
Yeah, but the
think if we
blizzard
do,
can be
then-
spawned on any random person.
Yeah, and they can take frost protection potion, I think.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at this guy, this warrior. The dart does about 1,000 damage per second. Obviously, he's a warrior, so he's got some defensive stance reduction. But still, I mean, 1,000 damage per second isn't enough to kill somebody, even if you have good reactions. If you're a fucking potato that doesn't move instantly, then you could die from this easily.
Yeah, the thing is that healers move and tank die.
True.
Yeah, that's it.
That's gonna be the tricky part.
That's what happens. I remember.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why the frost protection potion, I think, really helps. If you
Sure. I mean, yeah, we can ask
That's-
people to bring that.
That's a really nice idea.
Yeah.
Also, the ads, the big bugs,
Yeah, the scarabs. So
you can never AoE them because it will pull
yeah,
the
yeah.
neutral,
Don't cleave on
scrolls.
this fight at all, basically.
Yeah.
Do we want ranged or melee to deal with the scarabs?
I remember.
Just everybody runs to the scarab or starts casting at the scarab.
I think range should do it.
Yeah, we use
Isn't
range.
the idea that we have a
Yeah.
bug hunting group?
A
of,
bug hunting group.
Yeah, of like 5 to 8 people who
Just
are
5, I
always.
think. A tank and 4 DPS, range DPS.
Yeah, maybe.
Also, the melee who's running from one side to the other side,
Can obviously
while
run.
running, they can kill the bugs while running a bit, if you know what I mean.
So I'll
Yeah,
type.
obviously, you intercept to the bug and then
Yeah.
Mortal
intercept the
strike,
bug,
whatever.
hit, throw
So-
some hits and run over.
carry on. Yeah.
We'll have a nightfall. Third tank will be nightfalling. No wait, that doesn't work on this fight. We to just 2 tanks, spare tanks, just helping control the bugs, and then 4 range DPS focus them down. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then adapt if you need more DPS.
Yeah, you don't really need 2 tanks to make it happen.
But we're
But
gonna
the
have
other-
4. We're gonna
The
have
other
4
tanks-
protections.
the other tank's got nothing to do. So
Yeah, so 2 tanks for
Yeah.
that dude, and then obviously 2 tanks. Well, 1 tank can be a backup in case a taunt's resisted on the Vignash, Vecnilash.
yeah.
I don't think it won't because for some reason they give the first guy they got in melee range at the change. They got a pretty huge aggro to them. That
Okay.
should. So we only used warrior tanks, but tank on the when he had the caster, he just stood there while getting healed. But he had no shadow resistance, so he took lots of damage compared to a warlock.
Yeah, I've seen that too, but it's not intended.
No, it's just we didn't have the good warlocks with the good resistance gear. It will really help having a warlock spamming Searing Pain and get the aggro after 5 seconds after a switch.
But our warlocks are keen to be doing this, so they are hunting the shadow resistance gear really well.
Yeah, much better to use a warlock with full shadow resistance. Would really help the healer's mana.
So it's, fairly simple fight. Bring frost protection potions, melee guy tanked by traditional tanks, caster guy tanked by warlocks. We'll heal if too close to each other. We'll teleport to swap places every 30 seconds. Tanking is key. Caster will blizzard, move away from it. Range group of 2 tanks in full range run around and hunt the enraged scarabs.
And need to be really careful with stuff like Whirlwind, Thunder Furious, and Multi-Shot. Because they will aggro the scarabs that not angry yet and will mess us up.
Do not cleave, multi-shot or AoE in this fight. Be careful to not over aggro.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Yeah, basically.
I also believe there's going to be a lot of burst damage from the melee Emperor. He's got Unbalancing Strike, which does like 350% weapon damage and reducing
Okay.
defense by 100 for 10 seconds.
So do you want to tank swap that? Can it be tank swapped?
No, not really.
I don't
You
think
just
you
don't-
really need to
just-
swap. You just gotta be aware.
Yeah, you just got the tanks have to press their buttons correctly and get
You
all the
can
blocking.
suddenly hurt.
Yeah,
The
so
healers
I've written Melika will nuke the tank.
And if you for any reason move close to the spellcasting Emperor, he's going to do a massive arcane explosion with knockback.
Yeah.
I don't know if you covered it. Yeah. I just felt like saying.
So keep demoralizing shout up on the melee boss and use your shield block basically.
Yeah, well, it's a tanking thing, you know. We know to use shield block on nasty hitting bosses. I mean,
I don't think you can use Demo Shout because that will aggro the small bugs.
Are
I
there
don't
small
know.
bugs though? I'm not sure. I think in the part of the room where you tank the emperors, I'm not sure there are any.
I
They
think
are
it's random. I think they'll move around a lot.
they actually respawn. So I remember if someone do AOE, they are going to Arcotem and go to on the healer. So
Yeah,
We'll figure out if we can use
If we
demo
can't
shouts.
demo shout, we can use curse of weakness, right?
True.
Yeah. And no, he's a magic immune, maybe.
Oh yeah, maybe
Of
that's
course.
it. We'll find out if we can, if we can't.
Can't we watch a video? Fine. And if it's a tank video, can't we watch and see whether?
Oh, he does have demo shout on. Yeah, I can see that
Yeah,
on
there
his
you
debuff.
So they must find a space where there's no
Yeah,
bugs.
I mean basically they moved to this corner-like thing, and then
Yeah.
there's no
I
bugs
think
around.
the bugs are more central, and the corners don't have them as much.
Yeah, probably. We'll find out basically.
Yeah, he uses Demo Shout to get aggro from one little bug that ranged pulls off him. The bug hunting group pulls off him.
Yeah.
Right, next
But-
pull.
The bugs aren't that dangerous, I think, unless they are enraged. It's when the Emperor enrages them that they become really dangerous.
I think they automatically enrage if you pull them.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can see one small dead scarab, just by itself.
Yeah, might be. And don't know how they look when they die. Let's see when the.
I'm looking at
die.
this. So they just transitioned. They are cleaving the scorpions, indeed, and the scorpions are running off, and they just don't care about the scarabs. They just get cleaved down. They don't have a lot. They don't enrage when interacted with.
Okay.
And on this fight at least. So potentially you can just ignore them and just cleave them down.
Yeah, we'll heighten of DPS.
Well, I don't care if it does more DPS. I mean, that much. It's not gonna matter that much, is it? Or maybe it is on a raid wide scale.
Yeah, it will be a shorter fight, less chance of something to go wrong.
I mean, maybe we try initially to just cleave them and then see if they become an issue. Alright, next pull. 1 hour, 8 minutes, 47 seconds. It's gonna be the nastiest trash in the entire game, basically. So we've got Kirashi Champion, Slayer, and Mind Slayer. As far as I know, the Mind Slayer will mind control, kind of in name. They will AoE fear and mind control, I think. Does
Yeah, it
not-
should be the same as this first pull after Scaram.
Yeah. So obviously you kill Mind Slayers first. I'm trying to find out what the Slayer does and what the Champion does. I think that they kill the Champion last, but maybe it's a sort of
I think the champion is just big and bulky and whirlwindy and cleaving.
I can see. Oh, they actually kite. They kite the Slayer and the Champion. Yeah.
In the Emperor room?
Yeah.
So the Slayer does nothing. He doesn't get to do anything. He dies so quick.
It's AoE whirlwinding.
Whirlwind, yeah.
The champion fears and gets
Yeah.
big at the end.
Okay. So we need. I mean, are we gonna try the kite strat? I mean, it sounds good.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Okay.
Get them far away from the mind players, and I don't think they can. The kiters can be mind controlled either.
If they get far enough away from the Mind Slayers, that's not a problem.
I think on the Dream State speedrun of Entourage, they use the Emperor room as a sort of a clearing room for the next
Yeah.
crash.
They do this in this stream as well, because it's a big old room, and the scarabs don't get enraged anymore, so they can just be cleaved down and ignored, basically. So, Mind Slayer will AoE Fear and Mind Control, kill them first. Slayer will AoE Whirlwind, Champion will AoE Fear, both will be kited. Done deal. It's just about the pull, I think.
Yeah, get everything picked up
Get
fast.
everything,
without
get
killing.
everything controlled, in position, kited, moved away from the raid, yeah? So, we'll learn as we go, I think. Any comments?
No, it looks pretty straightforward if you get the pull wrong.
Yeah, if the pull is the key part. If you get all the Mind Slayers in position in the corners, and you get the Slayer and the Champion away from the raid, I think that's
kind
key.
of similar to post fire mode trash. It's nasty pull, but if you can control the first 30 seconds, it should be no problem.
Yeah. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. 1 hour, 24 minutes, 28 seconds. This is a Ubisoft Water and Obsidian Nullifier. There's no textual information on these pools, so I don't know.
It's the same mobs at the start of the instance, just more of them. Need two
Not
targets
the-
to mana burn and one target with a random ability.
So the Nullifier needs to be mana drain as well. And then,
Yeah, but now we got two of them.
and then we've got two of them. But it's not on. What's the first one? It's not called the same. It's called Eradicator. So maybe it doesn't explode.
No, it does something different that's
Maybe it.
almost equally as nasty. It reduces everyone's health to 1 and remove all buffs from you.
Damn. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's kind of funny, really.
What? Jag ska nog spise det bagefter. Okay, so alright. Nullifier needs to be mana drained. Kill first. The water will have different abilities again, yeah? Just like the other ones, the defenders and the sentinels. This one had a dust cloud. The first one we look at. Not sure what it does. Anyone know?
No, just looking at the second pack to kill, let's see if looks like melee stay away from the tall one.
Dust cloud plus roots on this first water. Dust cloud looks to be doing pulsing damage.
Yeah, pulsing AoE. Kind of like Baron Geddon.
Let's look at the second pool.
Where are we up to?
We've got 5 categories left, so we're at 1 hour 24 minutes 28 seconds. And it'll be South Water and Obsidian Nullifier.
These guys look exciting.
Very. So we know the Eradicator will explode when mana bar gets full. According to Ares, the water, so the Nullifier will
reduce HP to 1 and remove all buffs if they gain full mana. Which sounds hilarious. We're trying to figure out what the water will do. He's got different abilities, much like the sentinels and the defenders. So the first one did a pulsing AoE plus roots, and it looks to be let's see, this one does a fear plus a dust cloud, I think. Yeah, it says it on the Bigwigs announcement. And you can see the dude is doing a pulsing damage, so the melee don't get in there. See, it does a lot of damage, a third of your HP basically. Yeah, so that's pretty nasty. So just keep the melee away from it basically, just have one tank in there. I think that's it.
Yeah.
And we know it either does a root, a fear, or the silence. So just deal with it accordingly. I'm trying to look at the third pool. Oh, they've got a patrol here. So it's a few, I think it's a few slayers or a few lashes.
Mind Slayers.
Mind Slayers, and it looks to be a champion, much like the one previously, which basically does an AoE fear. And there's also that's a normal Slayer like previous pool, basically just like identical pool here. So we saw in the last pool that they kite the Slayer and they kite the champion, much like we do with the big Brood Lord dudes in BVL. Because they do AoEs and stuff like that. So kite them away and then take care of the Mind Slayers because they mind control and just all sorts of nasty mind things. Mind flay. Yeah.
I missed out a little bit, but I also think they have Mind Flay, which heals you for the duration.
Yeah.
But I don't remember if that's some earlier mobs or just them.
No, it's the Mind Slayer. It does do that. And when it dies, you get feared when you die. When they die, it AoE fears the Mind Slayer.
To split them up, tank them, and kill them quickly.
Yeah, melee move away when they're about to die. And they mind control, and they mind flay with a fear.
I'm not sure if I remember right, but I think you can interrupt that mind flay.
Yeah, I think you can. Right, so let's move on to the next water, see if we can find something exciting with it. They're about to pull that set 1 minute 32, sorry, 1 hour 32 minutes. They pull the third water, trying to see if it does anything different. Okay, so they always pulse AoE. You pull the nullifiers back to have the melee be useful. It looks like they always do the pulse AoE.
If you see the raid warnings, when they first do Dust Cloud, it says Dust Cloud plus and either Roots or Fair.
Yeah.
So it might be that he has a combination of 2 or 3 abilities out of 3 or 4.
Sorry, need to be right back. Vacuum's going. We can take a 5-minute break.
Everybody get your vacuums out.
Thanks to
You
the
get 5 minutes to hoover.
Get all those crumbs off the floor. All those pizzas you've been eating in boxes by your computers. Your computer will have already got a lot of dust inside. If you get the vacuum cleaner inside the computer, clear up some of that dust. That would be good as well.
I don't have any dust in the computer. I pressure wash it every day.
Every day. This guild that we're watching, they've cleared Backbling Lair. Sorry, they've cleared Nax Rams, haven't they?
Yeah.
They're all wearing Nax gear. Interesting that they're Nightfall warriors in there, meleeing the warders.
I guess they got the healing for to keep him up to boost the range shot.
Yeah, so but all the rest of the melee are just standing around doing nothing whilst the Nightfall guy's in there. Like it's obviously worthwhile keeping the second guy alive to get the extra damage up.
What I can see from this video is I know many places already we will see will have dead.
Oh yeah, there's going to be lots of bullet deaths.
Is there a place that you would see him alive?
Yes, maybe when zoning in.
We missed you, Trin.
Just girlfriend, just vacuum for a bit.
So basically, we decided that the warders need to basically the melee just stand around and watch the warders get shot to pieces.
Yeah, and deal with the root fear / silence. Well, next up is Cthulhu. 1 hour, 40 minutes, 11 seconds for the pool. Obviously, this is the big dude, the big one. I don't think I'll do a written guide on this boss because there's so much to tell. But we'll discuss any decisions that need to be made. And I'll just copy paste the thing that Chess did, Chesh.
So for Cthulhu, we have the first phase, which is killing the eye, and then the second phase, which is killing the body.
So second phase is controlling the tentacles. Third phase is when he's, vulnerable, and when you get to DP.
Oh, so it's flipping back between the tentacles and the body, tentacles and the body.
Yeah. Right, so we know that Cthulhu does an I-beam in phase 1. I-beam will chain infinitely to anyone within a few yards. I think it's 5 yards or something.
You need to have. There's a timer thing. There's an add-on. You can see watching their video. It's cool. It's called. They've got it on their box. It's called linking, and we obviously all need to have that add-on.
Yeah, definitely need to have that add-on. Moving into the room is the first challenge. So you see this team, Molten Core Swim team, do it a tiny bit differently. They all run in center of the staircase at the entrance, and they watch who gets targeted, and that person moves to the wall. But they have, cat-like reflexes. Very professional raiders. I don't think that's a tactic we should use. We should go safe. Which means we'll be moving in at teams of 5. So I think moving 2 teams at a time. So on the left side of the entrance, we'll put groups, 1, 3, 5, and 7, and on the right side 2, 4, 6, and 8, and then 1 and 2 move, hogging the wall alongside the staircase, moving into the room, so they actually have the distance required to not chain between them. And they move in at the same time, so group 1 and 2 on left and right side move in and run back to the room to position, and then 3 and 4, and then always move them in pairs to get in position quickly. Because the groups in there for a long time suffer the I-beam. So what do you think?
I felt like there was like if you go in together, don't you chain the I-beam between all 5 of you in your group, and then you all die?
You want kind of want
You
to
have
go
to
in.
stagger it, don't you?
Yeah, you've got to stagger it, so 2 at a time or 1 at a time with.
Yeah, so the player 1 from group 1 and the player 1 from group 2 go in 5 yards behind players 2 and 2 and 4 or whatever they are, and then you also just stream in like that. Is what I thought. That's how it worked.
And you need nature resistance potions on you before the pull,
because the I-beam is the nature resistance.
Yeah. So you need to have you need to be able to survive for the time it takes of the heal of your group to make it to your nearby vicinity. You need to be able to survive that. So it's gonna take I think 5-10 seconds, and RNG stage you could be hit every time with it, basically.
But I think if you drink a nature resistance potion and we wait 2 minutes for the potion cooldown to be refreshed before the pull, and then with a health stone and another nature resistant potion, that should be
when it doesn't chain, it only does 2,000 damage. Only 2,000 damage.
Yeah, so it's most of a nature resistance potion, but not quite a full one.
Isn't it a nature resistance 15 to 2,500, or is it more? I think it's almost always gonna consume the entire pot when you get hit the first time. Has anyone done this?
Nope.
No.
I have done this.
Banjo has.
I have done this, but we run in auto together, so.
We just all just charged in.
Yeah, but you pop out nature process. Nature, the greater one, not the small one. So.
Yeah, big one.
Yeah. And basically, if you are running fast enough, then you'll be better spread out already and not seeing too many people. So.
What's the cooldown on the nature beam? How often does it do it?
Every 3 seconds.
I'm concerned that we're calling it nature beam. Can we call it a chain lightning?
It's I-beam officially.
Okay. But it chains like a chain lightning, right?
Yes.
And it gets more powerful as it goes.
It doubles every time it chains.
And just a bit of trivia, did you know it will deal over 1 billion damage if it jumps 20 times?
Yep. We see in the stream 6 players die to 1 beam. It chains 2,000 damage to 4,000 to 8,000 to 16,000 and then so on. And Whiskra, the tank we're watching, receives 96,000 damage from the beam.
On the bright side, if everyone in the raid gets hit, it's gonna deal so much damage the game can't handle it, and it will deal 0 damage.
But you still die.
Yeah, it's just a silly thing. The beam can do so much damage that the game can no longer compute
handle
the
such
damage.
a big number.
Okay. So we need to decide how are we going to enter the room. Streamline it like we just spoke about, or rush in, balls to the wall, and see where we end up.
Or maybe two time. You can go to right and left, so 2 times 2 group. 2 group to the left, 2 times to the right, and in 2 wave, I think.
Well, that's the plan. We have 1 wave running in from the left side and 1 wave running in from the right side at the same time, moving back to the assigned group positions, which will be assigned with a lovely paint image, which one of us is going to make, probably not me because I suck.
Atashi's good with paint.
Oh yeah.
I think the 2x2 strat sounds safer if you manage to do it correctly than just taking a big risk at having the entire raid
Yeah,
Finishing.
everyone piling in sounds like a recipe for disaster. I think
Oh,
we
yeah.
should have done that.
Right, so move them in, one person on the left, one person on the right at a time, and then the next one close by, just far enough for the beam to not chain, but quick enough that it's
Yeah.
going to be done, within... I mean, we need to be in the room within 15 seconds, 20 seconds. We need to be...
Just take a look on your proximity monitor add-on, and when you see that the next person, so just go follow him.
And we need, a proper fucking conga line set up outside the room, so that you can clearly see when it's your turn to move.
Yep, that makes sense. I think fixating on that too much now is not really necessary. Like,
Nah.
when we're outside the room, we'll build our lines and based on
Yeah,
who's
yeah.
there.
Right, so
But-
phase
but-
one... Sorry?
The first time we run in and everybody dies,
Yep.
is somebody going to be in a position to resurrect the room? if
There's a
they-
teleport to Cthulhu.
It's a teleport to Cthulhu, so we don't
Teleport
okay,
to Twin Imps and
Sorry.
a teleport to Cthulhu.
And you don't want the rest outside the room because the arc range is very,
It's
very high.
extremely high, yeah.
If
you-
you're... Sorry.
Yeah, you can aggro from like the entrance on top of the staircase. Basically, that's where you can aggro it. Right. So anyway, moving on from the pool. Phase one, we've got all these tentacles and different sort of things going. So Cthulhu will do what's called a dark glare. He's gonna do a massive eye beam, and he's gonna move that eye beam clockwise or counterclockwise. Basically, to move from it. You will instantly be killed. It does about 50,000 damage if you get hit by it. So you just need to move from it.
So the question is, the beam that and it goes round, it sort of works its way around the circle. Does it do a full 360 degrees, or does it do less, or does it do more?
It does it for 30 seconds. It's,
Okay, so it
it's
just
gonna
goes
do
to bed.
more than one lap, I think. More than a full rotation, I think.
So basically, we need to maintain our sort of relationship, distances and the positions, and
Well-
rotate with the beam.
When we're in position, everybody's alive, we've done the pull, we're in successfully, it's not that much of an issue if we just keep watching the atom, making sure we don't chain. I mean, that's it, because you're always going to have a healer in position and a healer close by to heal you, and yeah. But the big deal is melee. Obviously melee can clump up during the dark glare and just, nuke Cthulhu. But when it ends, they need to be spread out. So we can only have 8 melee. And a tank never has to be on Cthulhu. So it's 8 melee DPS, proper melee DPS. Other tentacles will be the claw tentacle, basically a big old tank and spank dude. And it's going to be small eye beams, eye tentacles even, which will mind flame. You can be kicked, stunned. They only have roughly 3,000 HP. So, just, short cast, quick cast, burn them down ASAP. Claw tentacle, it's got like 30,000, I think. It's not, massively massive. In phase 1, anyway. So, phase 1 ends as Cthulhu dies. Well, the eye
done.
The eye dies.
So when are we DPSing the eye?
When? Always.
Our kill priority is killing
Tentacles.
eye tentacles and claw tentacles.
All the tentacles.
I think eye tentacles first, then claw tentacles after,
Yes.
and then spare DPS in the eye. Or can we have 2, 4?
No, just bring
whatever
down
it
the
is, 4
tentacles.
robes
They
on
go
them?
down really quick. So just bring them down, back on the boss.
I think you can kick and counterspell and stun and
Yes.
use everything on them to reduce
You can
damage.
do everything on them, stun them. You can't fear them, I think, because they're stationary. Okay, so just burn them down, because they don't have a lot of HP in phase 1. Phase 2 is a bit of a different story. So in phase 2...
It's like, for the eye beam, that dark glare, it looks like it's moving 180 degrees. Half the room is getting in one glare.
Okay, that's fine. Anyway, moving into phase 2, we still get what's called the tentacle rape party. So eye tentacles, the small ones, identical to phase 1. But we get 2 more types. We get a kind of eating tentacle.
it's gonna devour you and spit you into the stomach of Cthulhu. Inside the stomach, you're gonna take stacking nature damage. You need to hop out of the
Well,
stomach.
this is the bit where we're going to cheat, right?
We're gonna put the people with, or wait until the people with that trinket, Blood Fade and others, will be inside the stomach forever, basically. Because you get stacking debuffs, but with the blob, what's it called? Tiny oozling?
Disgusting.
Yeah, disgusting oozling.
Yeah.
The one I'm forming now.
Yeah, so we'll have those two people. It's random who gets devoured and tossed into the stomach. But we will have the people that have the trinket, or the pet even, just down there all the time. We need to keep, I don't know if we need a tank down there, but we need a healer and a few DPS. And when the tentacles inside the stomach dies, I don't know if it's one or both tentacles, because you have two down there. I think it's both.
All of them need to die.
Yeah, both of them need to die. So when they die, Cthulhu is weakened and he can be damaged again.
So when you go into the stomach, what is the procedure? Is let's say me who doesn't have the disgusting oozling. I go into the stomach. Am I looking to leave straight away?
No.
Am I looking to do some damage? How long have I got?
You want to stay in there for as long as you feel like you can handle the damage. If not, you have a healer. You don't need people in there all the time. But when you have a healer in there, you want to obviously keep the healer healthy. So the healer needs to be swapped out when another healer lands down there. To make sure that the healers can actually, stay alive down there. And if you have a healer down there, you want to DPS the tentacle. I don't think it requires a tank.
Also, you need to time it, because what people...
I'll get to that. So if you, say, as a hunter, are the first person down there, you land in the slime, you jump up to one of the small islands with the big brown thing on it, where you will be shot back up. If you step on it, there's a brown thing. If you step on it, you get shot back up. So you can leave at any point. You can just leave. So you wanna stay near that platform, on that platform near the plate where you can jump onto to be bounced back up into the room. You want to DPS tentacles one by one, cleave if you want to, and you want to do that for as long as possible if you have a healer. If you don't, just bounce up whenever you feel like you're too low on HP. The healers, as I said, need to be rotated, so if you're a healer down there and another one lands, you jump up. And then the second healer will step in and, keep people alive. Back up to the surface, you get 2 empowered tentacles. An empowered eye tentacle, it's like a giant eye. He's gonna do an eye beam identical to the one that Cthulhu does in phase 1. Needs to be stun locked and kicked and beaten the shit out of as quick as possible. Because if that eye beam is shot even once, it's almost always a wipe. The second tentacle, the claw tentacle, is also bigger, and when they erupt, basically you get knocked back and take some damage, and he's going to be hitting harder. He can be stunned as well, just like the eye tentacle, the giant eye tentacle can. And he is basically the last prio on the kill list, the giant claw tentacle. And even if we have a giant claw tentacle, when Cthulhu is weakened, you stop DPS on it, and you move on to Cthulhu. Because you only get 2 shots, realistically, at taking down Cthulhu. 2 phases of him being vulnerable. So, ultimately, it's about getting the rhythm down inside the stomach, learning when to swap out, how much the dot does in damage, and learning how to control the tentacles. And this is all after we actually get through phase 1, because that's as tough as phase 2. So it's just about a trial and error kind of thing, learning how many healers do we need in there, when can we swap, do the players with the pet actually take damage, or are they completely immune?
They're immune, so they're pushing off the dot.
So they don't actually take damage?
No, so they're not taking damage. No.
Okay. So we know for sure that we have a few
Oh,
people who
fuck
can
yes,
beat...
I just got the oosling.
Woo! Nice!
Nice.
So we know that if you have the oosling, you can be down there in the stomach permanently. Until obviously the tentacles die and you gotta, jump back up.
I got it on the 8th bag. That's insane.
That is insane, dude. That's a
Yeah.
0.002% drop chance or something.
Yeah.
That's insane, dude. Congrats.
Everything's coming up Harrington.
Oh yeah. Right, so any questions about Cthulhu? Any points to discuss that we haven't already touched on?
How many big tentacles, like the claw tentacles, can be up, so to speak, at the same
Infinite.
time? Infinite. Okay, so they do need to be killed off.
They do need to die. Well, basically, the DPS don't have anything to do in the second phase, other than bashing tentacles. Because Cthulhu literally can only take, 1% damage, even less. Your white attack is going to do 1 damage. So yeah, you do need to kill them, but they will die automatically when melee and ranged DPS get onto them. So the prio is, in the second phase, giant eye tentacle, small eye tentacle, and the giant claw tentacle. Big eye, stun lock, interrupt, kill ASAP. Anything else?
I think we have to wait and see how it goes. Obviously, Banjo, having healed
Yeah.
it before, will be able to give us some more insight from that
Definitely.
side of things. But we'll wait and see, I guess.
Should we return and get on the 3 final bosses some other day?
Yeah, I think that's enough for this evening, isn't it?
Good. Thanks for coming.
Anybody else have any questions to anything I want to talk about?
Is it worth for us to try to get as many as possible with that oosling?
It's gonna be top notch. If
Okay,
if we have the entire raid, 40 people with an oosling, it would make the stomach aspect of the fight completely redundant.
Okay, I didn't know anything about that until today, so I haven't really looked for it.
Well, basically, the oosling will keep adding up your debuff slots. Keep adding them up. You can only have 16, remember? And the DPS you receive from the stomach phase is a debuff. So when you're all stacked up, you can't have any more. You don't take any damage. You completely negate the damage.
But the oosling is, I mean, it's a very small chance to find the oosling. So
Extremely.
we're not expecting people to go out there and search for them.
Literally, there's a higher chance of that dropping. There's a higher chance of winning the 30-state US lottery.
So basically, if you have the gold, keep an eye out on the auction
Yeah, I was
house.
thinking
It's
about
gonna
that.
be worth infinite amounts of gold.
Yeah, but some, I think Cray, was it?
Cray
Yeah.
found it for 100, I think.
Yeah. Even like once in a while, people put stuff on the auction house that they don't actually have a clue about how much they're really worth. So
Bloodfate got his for like 200 or something.
Where
So
did you
sniping.
get it? If you want to grind for it, where do you get it?
I got it in Fellwood just now.
Or you can grind it in the Western Blakeland, the cave where the greater nature resistant potion